once again, a warm welcome to all of you. From today onwards, we'll be having engaged in this sessions of machine learning. Many of you might not be knowing me, so let me introduce myself. So I'm Smriti Bhandari. I'm PhD in Computer Science and Engineering. And I'm having almost 24 plus years of experience as I'm having teaching experience as well as research experience and also the professional experience. Basically, my area of specialization is computer vision and machine learning. So I have undergone, in fact, several research projects also. Those were funded by Department of Science and Technology. And I have completed these research projects under the same domain, that is computer vision and machine learning. So just I'm going to explain you what kinds of projects I was involved with, because these projects will also provide you some kind of insight as far as you are final year students, so you are also thinking of some projects, so that might help you to have some kinds of ideas, especially for electrical and electronics students. So as I mentioned, my basic domain in computer science is computer vision, cognitive vision, and also obviously the machine learning. So the first project that I was involved in was sponsored by DST under Women Scientist Scheme, and I had worked on that project during 2006 to 2009, and that project was related to surface roughness evaluation using computer vision and machine learning techniques. So you might be knowing that in many of the mechanical industries, they are using several metallic parts, and it is really very important for them to actually know the surface finish or the roughness value of those parts or the surfaces. So there are several methods actually to do that. So this is a kind of interdisciplinary project. So what they do is they are having some kind of stylus like devices, and they used to use those devices to find out a plot. So there is a physical contact with the metallic surface for which they want to actually find out the roughness. So using that kind of a device, there is a diamond tip. That diamond tip is actually moved on the surface of the object, and then they are able to plot a graph wherein they can observe the peaks and valleys. Those actually need to be related with the surface, and based on that there is some statistical computation, and it is possible to find out the roughness of the surface. So instead of having such kind of mechanical device, what I did was I used computer vision, especially surface texture analysis methods, to analyze those surfaces and to find out actually the roughness values. So this was the first project. Also, I have worked on the inspection of surfaces. So if there is any kind of defect on the surface, it was possible using my system, it is possible to find out the defects, if any, on the surfaces of metallic objects. So that was one project. The second project was once again sponsored by Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, and that project was related to medical imaging. So the electronics and electrical people might be knowing medical imaging, wherein we actually process the images to gain some kinds of insights out of that. So what I did was, my project was analyzing histopathological images to find out or to diagnose breast cancer. So that was the task. So histopathological images, meaning you might be knowing that if the pathologist or doctors want to diagnose the cancer, what they do is they remove some part from your body, and the process is called as the biopsy. So whatever the part is removed, that is being sliced, and they observe that, or they prepare first the glass slides and they observe these slides through the microscopes, and whatever is the morphology of the cells, structure of the cells, based on that it is possible for them to identify whether there exists any cancer or not, or whether the sample is malignant or not. So I have worked on that. So digital images were processed, histopathological digital images were processed, and it was possible to diagnose the breast cancer using those images. So once again, this was the computer vision plus machine learning task. The third project that I recently completed was once again sponsored by DST and was under the Cognitive Science Research Initiative. So what I did under that project was, it is actually the application that is meant for elderly people who live alone in their homes. So nowadays, if you observe the society, there are many elderly people who are staying alone in their homes, and they are not having any kind of support system. So anything wrong happens with them, there is no means to communicate it with their caregivers or any medical professionals. So what I did is, I have built one computer vision system wherein the cameras are deployed at various places in the home, and continuously the video is being acquired and analyzed, and initially the normal activities or normal behavior of a person is being learned, and based on that, if there is any kind of abnormal activity, say for example there is a fall of a person, right, that is abnormal activity. So if there is any kind of abnormal activity, by making use of that kind of a system, it is possible to find out the abnormal behavior of a person, and immediately the alerts can be provided to the caregivers. So this was the task that I have worked on recently. So all these actually include the machine learning concepts. So as we move on through the contents of our course, I'll be briefing you how in such kinds of applications the machine learning is applicable. This is just, I wanted you to know me, and that is why I explain whatever I have worked in this area of computer science. So I hope I'm clear with the projects that I have completed so far. So let us begin now the machine learning course. But prior to that, in fact, I would like to tell you that I have gone through the responses those you have submitted for the survey that was floated by me. So I would like to share a few of my observations. So it is really good that you are having some kind of motive, and that is why you have opted for this course. It is really great. And it is also challenging that there is a diverse group of students from various disciplines, and together we are going to learn some new concepts of machine learning, and we'll share our experiences. So it would be really good that we are having such kind of a dynamic group, and all are having something in mind that they would like to do. They are having some objectives about their careers, so it is really good. And wherever you require help from my side to undergo whatever task you are intended to do, then I'm ready to help you in whatever capacity I can. Also, another question I have floated was regarding the programming skills. So what I observed is the programming skills, the average programming, or rather the average programming skills of this class actually is around 3. So I think all of you are having some intermediate knowledge of programming. So even though this course is not actually having any scope to undergo any laboratory work, basically to know more about this course, we may need some kind of programming, though it is not mandatory. So what I had, one more question was whether you will be interested in undergoing some programming kinds of assignments, and those assignments will be extra. So I'm happy that almost 90% of the students have mentioned that they are interested in undergoing such kinds of extra assignments, and that is a good sign that you are really interested in learning something new. So I'll be giving you few such kinds of assignments also. So I'll be sharing few codes wherever required and whenever we are going to learn those concepts, so that you'll gain some additional insights as far as how, or as far as actual practical implementation of those concepts is required. So let us start now with this really good crowd here. So machine learning is having the course code that is 0CSOE404. The prerequisites for this course are basic linear algebra knowledge and statistics and probability. And I know that you have undergone linear algebra concepts also and statistics and probability also during your first and second year of engineering and even in the junior college as well. So you are having the knowledge related to the basic mathematics that is required. I have not mentioned here the programming skills as the prerequisite because this course is actually designed as a theoretical course and we are not having any laboratory or we are not having any component for laboratory work, and that is why I have not mentioned that it is a prerequisite. But if you are having the programming skills, it is really very good to undergo that kind of assignments. As you know, the teaching schemas will be having 3 hours per week and the course carries the credits of 3. Also, you are knowing that evaluation scheme for this course is like ISC 1 will be of 10% weightage, the mid-semester examination of 30% weightage, ISC 2 once again 10% weightage, and ESC end semester examination having the 50% weightage. Now, let me take you through actually the mode of conduct and how I am going to assess you through all those different modalities. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have any doubts, please unmute yourself and ask the question or raise your hand. I am having here Kalpesh Jagdale, who has raised his hand. Kalpesh? Kalpesh, are you there? Okay, so let us proceed with the mode of conduct. So as far as ISC 1 is considered, we are going to have two subcomponents of this ISC 1. The first component would be a quiz in the form of multiple choice questions, and that would be based on unit number 1 and unit number 2, and it will carry 20 marks. The second component of ISC 1 would be a video presentation on machine learning applications. So for these presentations, we are covering all first 3 units, and this component will carry 10 marks. So what we are supposed to do in this assignment? You are supposed to work in pairs for this assignment. So a pair of students will identify the applications in machine learning in the respective engineering fields. Meaning, if you belong to electronics engineering, or if you belong to electrical engineering, or if you belong to aeronautical engineering, whatever may be your core engineering field, you need to identify the application in your domain, in your field, and you need to prepare a small video presenting that application, a small video, right? And that would be our component number 2 under ISC 1. And this task needs to be carried out in a pair of students. Am I correct? So I hope you have understood this ISC 1 components. MSc would be as it is. It is a written examination of 50 marks, right? And it will be controlled by a controller of examination. Under ISC 2, once again, we'll be having 2 components. Under first component, we'll be having some numerical assignments. So some problem solving. So you'll be provided with the problems, and for those problems you need to provide the solutions. And some mathematical treatment will be undergoing for this assignment. And this assignment will carry 20 marks. The second component of ISC 2 will be a case study on real world application. So you'll be provided with a problem statement, most probably in your domain only, and you need to, whatever you have learned till that assignment, based on your learning, you need to propose the solution to solve that particular problem. Once again, this task also need to be carried out in pair of students. So 2 students will work on this problem statement, and you are supposed to provide the solution for that problem. So let me tell you, it is expected that you should compare all the algorithms or all the techniques those you have studied at that instance of time, and you need to compare, you need to find out the pros and cons of those algorithms, and you should come up with a proper algorithm. So it is kind of a theoretical stuff, but the students who are interested in undergoing some laboratory work may come up with the actual solution also. Under the fourth component, that is ESE, it is once again a written examination. So you need to write a 100 marks paper controlled by controller of examination, right? And this is how, so all those marks will be converted appropriately. So ISC 1 will be converted to 10 marks, MSc will be converted to 30 marks, ISC 2 will be converted to 10 marks, and ESC will be converted to 50 marks. So overall 100 marks evaluation will be there. If you have any doubts so far, please let me know. Any doubts or any clarification required? Yes?
No, ma'am.
May I proceed? May I proceed with the next?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now I am going to brief you about the course learning outcomes. So you might be aware that under outcome based education, we are having outcome based education, and in outcome based education we actually are assessing our students based on the attainments at course level and the attainments at the program level. So every course is having defined certain course outcomes, and based on those course outcomes actually we are assessing our students, right? And all those outcomes are quantified. So you might be aware of this concept. Are you aware of this concept? What are the course outcomes? Yes? Do you know what are the course outcomes? Otherwise, I'll brief you.
No, ma'am.
You don't know?
No.
Okay, fine. So, actually, there are certain cognitive domains in which we are supposed to provide the education, and also students should acquire the knowledge, the aptitude, and also the skills. So these domains are known as KSA, knowledge, skills, and aptitude. So all the courses are having such kinds of outcomes. So whatever are the course outcomes defined, you might have observed that we are having certain level. See, here you might be observing that few of the outcomes are of level K2 and few are of level K3. So what this K2 and K3 means? K stands for knowledge, right? So if you are having, instead of K there is S, then it is skill. If it is A, then it is aptitude. So in fact the laboratory courses are having the outcomes with S and A, but the theoretical courses are having the outcomes with respect to this cognitive domain, that is knowledge, right? Now what we mean by K2 and K3? So we are talking about the knowledge domain and the level of the knowledge, that is 2 and 3. So knowledge level of the knowledge 2 or K2, what it indicates? It indicates that you have acquired the knowledge, you have learned, you have understood the concepts, and after understanding the concepts, you are able to explain that. Right? So after understanding the concept, if you are able to explain that concept effectively, then we say that you have attained that cognitive level of understanding. So K2, knowledge understanding. So you have acquired that knowledge, and it is possible for you to describe and explain that knowledge to others. That is level number 2, that deals with understanding of the concepts. Whenever we talk about K3, so K3 is now the higher level of cognition. So what we mean by that? It is once again related to knowledge, but it is not enough now that you have understood the concepts. But K3 level actually enables you to apply that to solve the problems, right? So K3 level is the higher cognitive level that allows you to apply whatever you have learned. And that is why in this course actually we are having 2 outcomes with K2 level and 3 outcomes with K3 level. So what we are expecting that the students who complete the course will not only are able to explain the knowledge that they have acquired, but they should also apply that knowledge with respect to various domains and various problems. So I would walk through all those outcomes so that you can understand. So the first outcome deals with K2 level, as I mentioned, and it is explain. So students, rather you will be able to explain the fundamentals and challenges of machine learning. So you are acquiring that knowledge, and after successful completion of this course, you will be able to explain these concepts. You will be able to describe various machine learning algorithms. So in this course, we will be focusing upon various machine learning algorithms. So at the end of this course, you will be able to describe those. Third outcome is the application level. So you'll be able to demonstrate the working of various machine learning algorithms with mathematical justifications for sample real world data. So what we mean by that? See, you are learning various algorithms, right? So these algorithms will actually work on some kind of data. But you have understood the algorithm, but you should be able to actually demonstrate. If I give you some sample data, how actually that algorithm is working and what is the mathematical treatment behind that, you should be able to demonstrate. And what we believe is, after completing this course, you will be able to demonstrate the mathematical justifications behind those machine learning algorithms. Right? So that is our third outcome. The fourth outcome actually once again is the application level. So demonstrate and use various machine learning algorithms and models. So you are learning the algorithms. So not only you will be able to demonstrate it with some sample data, but also we are expecting that our students will be able to demonstrate and actually use those machine learning algorithms for solving the problems. The last outcome is actually not dealing with single algorithm, but if the multiple algorithms are there to solve the same problem, then you will be able to identify the strengths and weaknesses of those algorithms, and you should be able to choose the appropriate or suitable machine learning algorithm to solve the machine learning application or to solve the real world problem using the machine learning approach. So these are the course learning outcomes. So I hope you must have understood what we mean by these outcomes, and you will be assessed based on those outcomes. So whatever examination mode of conducts that I just explained, ISCs, ESCs, MSCs, whatever it may be, every component is associated with certain course learning outcome. And based on your performance over there, it is possible for us to judge you, to assess the knowledge that you have acquired. Right? So it is possible to quantify your knowledge based on these course outcomes. Am I clear? Or do you need any kind of further explanation related to this? If you have any doubts, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to proceed. Any doubts? May I proceed? or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So let us proceed with the textbooks, those we are using. So we are having a machine learning by Tom Mitchell, the book published by McGraw-Hill Publication. So we are using this as one of the textbooks. And the second textbook that we are going to use is the Introduction to Machine Learning by MIT Press. So both the soft copies are available with me. So I'll be uploading these soft copies on Google Classroom so that you can refer to these books, right? Also, apart from these textbooks, we are having few reference books as well. So these reference books, or rather I'm having here only one reference book, and actually the two online courses, those are available, and the material for these two online courses is available on YouTube. So I'll recommend that those who are interested may visit the NPTEL course Introduction to Machine Learning by Sudeshna Sarkar. The material is available on YouTube, and also the another course offered by Coursera, the course Machine Learning by Professor Andrew Ng. This is a very good course. So those who are interested, they may also refer to the YouTube videos available on net belonging to both of these courses. So this is about the reference material that you may refer to. I'm going to provide all the course material in the form of videos and also in the form of PPTs so that you can refer to and you can learn more, right? So I'm having my YouTube channel. I'll be providing you the link of YouTube channel so that you can subscribe to that channel, and I'll go on uploading the videos with the similar pace that we are following as far as covering those concepts in the class. So once we cover that concept in the class, I'm going to upload it onto the YouTube channel so that it would be available for you. Am I clear? So
yes, ma'am.
may I proceed?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now, let us talk about now technically about some important terms that we many times use. Like you might have heard about the terminology like AI, ML, DS, NN, DL. So what are those terms? AI stands for artificial intelligence, ML stands for machine learning, DS stands for data science, NN stands for neural networks, DL stands for deep learning. So what do these terms actually mean? So let's get started. So let's begin with the difference in machine learning and data science. You might have heard these two terms many times, correct? No? So these are two buzzwords nowadays, that this person is a machine learning person, this person is a data science person. So what actually is the difference in machine learning and data science? Anybody who is aware of these two terms, machine learning and data science, and what is the difference? Yes, I want the sessions to be interactive. So if anybody wants to speak, please make it fast.
No.
No. Okay. So let me tell you what is actually the difference in machine learning and data science with one example. So let us say that we are having some data available with us, housing data. So if you look at the screen right now, what we have is we are having few records, actually the 6 records, right, of certain houses. So record number 1, record number 2 and so on. So these houses are being described with certain parameters. And what are those parameters? We are having here size of the house in square feet. We are having number of bedrooms in the house, number of bathrooms available, and we are having one more parameter, that is whether the house is renovated or not, yes or no kind of a thing. Okay, and we are having the price associated with that house. So based on these parameters, actually the price of the house is been determined, right? So if I am having such kind of a data, then after learning, after going through that data, it might be possible for me to come up with some kind of relation, some kind of mapping, such that these parameters, I am saying these parameters are A, and this parameter, that is the price of the house, is B. So using machine learning algorithms, what we are going to do is we can learn out of such kind of available data with us, and we can have some kind of mapping like A to B. So it is possible for us to map this data A that I have shown here onto the screen, these 4 parameters. So it is possible that if I know A, it is possible for me to predict what would be the price for that house, right? So such kinds of problems comes under machine learning. So machine learning actually is providing us some kind of mapping between A and B. So A are few parameters, and based on learning of the parameters A will provide us the prediction B. So it is kind of mapping between the parameters A and B. So under machine learning, we'll be having the AI systems. Those are actually the pieces of softwares. For example, you might build a website, or you might build a mobile application wherein you'll be, or your clients will use those mobile applications or the websites, and if they provide this A, right, that means these 4 parameters, then it is possible for the users to identify whatever is the price of the house based on these parameters, right? So this is how the machine learning algorithms can be, or the machine learning systems can be utilized. So in essence, these are providing us the mapping between the parameters like A to B, and these are actually the pieces of softwares, maybe the website, the mobile application, or some kind of a software. So it would be available for the users anytime, anywhere, and by making use of such kinds of softwares, the users may have such kinds of predictions. Now, if you have understood what I mean by machine learning, let me tell you what is data science. Okay? Now, data science is actually providing us the insights about the data. What do you mean by that? Let us assume once again that the same data is available with us. The same data is available with us. So what machine learning did? After learning that data, the machine learning models or machine learning systems will accept the input of the form A and will provide the output of the form B. So it will predict the price. But if I am having the same data, and if I want to have, or if I want to apply data science on that data, then what I'll be getting is, it is not a kind of a software that I am building. but instead I'll be using the data science tools that will provide me some kinds of insights. Say for example, the insight would be like homes with 3 bedrooms are more expensive than homes with 2 bedrooms, even though the total square footage of the house is same. I'll repeat. This is the insight that I'm getting out of the data after analyzing that data. So what is that insight? The homes, if they are having 3 bedrooms, and the homes if they are having 2 bedrooms, but the overall square footage size of the house is same. Only difference is either they are having 3 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms, right? Then if they are having 3 bedrooms, these homes are more expensive than the homes with the 2 bedrooms, even though they are having the same size, same square footage. So that is the insight that I may get after analyzing the data. One more insight that I may have is, if I am having a newly renovated home, then these homes are having 15% premium. So if after analyzing such kind of a data, if I am having such kinds of insights, then in data science, these insights are more meaningful to have some business decisions. So data science tools are many times used to analyze the data to have such kinds of insights, and actually those will lead us towards having some business related decisions. So this is how we may distinguish between machine learning and data science. Am I clear? Or if you have any doubts, please let me know.
It's clear,
Yes?
ma'am.
Fine. So let me proceed. I will be having 5 minutes more, right? So let me proceed with few more concepts. So like artificial intelligence. So what we mean by artificial intelligence now? It is any method that tries to replicate the results of some aspect of human cognition. So the AI systems are typically trying to mimic the human cognition. I'm specifically using here the word results. So any method that tries to replicate the results of some aspect of human cognition. So what I mean by that is, see, for example, if the task is driving a car, or if the task is playing chess, right? In artificial intelligence, we are not much bothered about the process that is being followed either by the human or by the machine. But we are more interested in whatever is the result. And what we are saying here is the result after processing it by machine and the result of human cognition. Those are similar. So any method that tries to replicate the results of some aspect of human cognition. So driving a car by a human and driving a car by a machine. Playing chess by a human and playing chess by a machine. So we are interested more in relating the results of these two activities, or the activity is being same, but those are carried out by either machine or a human, and we are trying to relate the results. So I hope you must have understood the concept. Any method that tries to replicate or mimic the results of some aspect of human cognition is AI, or artificial intelligence. Next is the machine learning. So we have seen actually machine learning and what kind of things actually, or what is the broad idea of machine learning. We are trying to relate A with B. But typically machine learning, as I mentioned, are the softwares or are the programs that perform better with experience. So as the experience grows, the programs are more and more accurate. So we are going to focus upon what we mean actually by experience later. But just remember, the machine learning are the programs that perform better with experience. The next term is the artificial neural networks. So let me tell you that ANN or artificial neural networks are the algorithms, those come under machine learning. So ANN is a machine learning algorithm. And finally, the deep learning. So what is deep learning? Deep learning actually is a kind of artificial neural network with more nodes, with more depth, right? So if I try to depict it using a Venn diagram kind of a thing, then artificial intelligence is a very broad term, right? And machine learning typically is the subset of artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence includes some other tools also other than machine learning, right? So artificial intelligence includes machine learning, but artificial intelligence is not exactly the same as machine learning. Machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. Apart from machine learning, we are having several other tools as well. Those are actually describing artificial intelligence. We are focusing upon machine learning. Deep learning or ANN is once again the subset of machine learning. So artificial neural network or deep learning are the algorithms. Those are included under machine learning. So I hope you might have understood these concepts and now where data science stands. So there are different opinions about data science, but I'm following one of the opinions and where the data science falls now in this scenario. So in fact, the data science is the cross section of all this. So data science includes some part of artificial intelligence, some part of machine learning, some part of ANN, and additionally data science is having some other tools as well. So data science stands as the cross section of all those different areas under artificial intelligence or related domains. So I hope I'm able to give you the insights about these common terminologies those are being used.